right, good afternoon, everybody. Either by happenstance or by design, I think the last panel did 99.99% of my job for me. So it's going to be a pretty straightforward presentation. Again, I'll be talking about the efficient pairing and efficient carrier-neutral pairing at scale. Okay, I was going to take us through the evolution of computer and the likes, but because of my time, it's going to be a very short one, and you'll see how it all turns back to how we are back to the mainframe computer systems that with the computer age started from right now. All right. The exchanges and their pairing locations around the world. So we did a little research, and we found out that the major big pairing exchanges in the world are located in co-location data centers. All the big pairing exchanges around the world in the US, Europe, in some part of Africa, and then even South America and the likes. But you'll find out that the internet exchange point in Nigeria is not 100% in a co-location facility. I'm sure if you were to ask Mr. Rodman, he was just here some minutes ago, he will tell you if the economics were right and we had efficient data centers in other parts of the country where they are currently co-locating in private locations, you would actually move into a co-location environment. Right now, they are just about 57% or thereabouts spread for their locations in the different data centers they are located in. Sorry about that. All right, so more and more content providers are trying to move closer to their users. Also, the operators are trying as much as possible to move as close as possible to the content providers. So what does that mean, really? Does anything change in the tiering of ISPs or service providers or carriers? Because if you look at it, what does it mean to be a tier 1 carrier, a global tier 1 carrier? Or what does it mean to be a tier 2 carrier, or whatever you want to, however you want to tier the carrier ecosystem? Academically or in practice, what you hear is that the tier 1 carrier has all the prefixes or is connected to all the networks in the world. Okay, that's what you hear academically. But ultimately, the practice is that people want to be as close as possible to the content. So if a local carrier or a local ISP in your locality can connect you to Google, Facebook, just by a hop away, doesn't mean that that carrier is now a tier 1 carrier. But this is something the operators will now need to start thinking about. Does the evolution of content moving close to the user change the perspective of how we tier our carriers globally and locally? I'll thank Mr. Rodman for this diagram you guys see up here. Somewhere here, I don't know if you can see it. That's the top right corner. He shared that with me sometime early last year. And what it says is that the further you move away from the user, the more expensive internet is, and that is the situation we find ourselves. So the user down in Maiduguri or Kano or wherever ultimately needs to come down to Lagos to be close to content. So if you are able to move content closer to the user, it reduces the cost of internet to the user. And then you see the graph on the bottom right corner there shows live graph of the impact of moving data close to the user. And this is where the edge data center or edge facility, and this is the idea behind having an edge data center. So what it does is that it brings data closer to the user, and ultimately what you see is a drop, a sharp drop in the latency, and then the user experience is better. User experience is more, you are more easier for you to say, okay, I want to consume this content. Right now what you see is that when you go on YouTube, for instance, your content doesn't buffer as it used to be because the data has come closer to the user than it used to be. And what facilitates this movement of data or content close to the user is the movement of, or the availability of data centers, huge data centers, efficient data centers, as close as possible to the user. And so we are bringing content provider, operator, user into one facility, and that is where you have the expediency of the colocation facility. All right, so I'll use use cases to explain what this slide is trying to tell us. The game has changed drastically, and we are beginning to, it's almost as though we've not come to terms with what has hit us in the country with the availability of the kind of co-location data centers we now have in the country. We have banks that get licenses from, they are licensed to operate from CBN. And then you find out that their turnaround time to be able to go into operations has shortened, unlike before where you have the data center or the banks trying to say, oh, okay, we are still building our data center, we are still putting this in place, we are still putting that in place. But the turnaround time has shortened because right away, they are able to co-locate in a facility and start operating immediately. So we have examples of that in Iraq Center, for instance, where a bank got a license and in a very short period of time, they were ready to go into operations because they didn't have to start thinking about the brick and mortar side of things. All they needed to do was get their infrastructure, put it inside an existing environment, and commence their operation. Same way we have with operators. We have operators that have come into the data center, and right away they just put their Metro Ethernet switch, they put in their other gears, and right away they are able to start operating. Other than what we used to have before, where they need to go and build a location to put in their network and put their ring in place. So if we had more efficient data centers like this spread across the nation, you'll find out that traffic exchange will be able to take place at huge scale because the operators find it more economically, it makes more sense economically for them to put the kind of robust infrastructure into a co-location facility rather than put a backhaul to a single location where they cannot scale properly. Because if they spend more that money into a co-location facility, they know that they can get more services delivered to either the enterprise user or the retail user. It is more cost efficient for them doing this. It also drives innovation and productivity. So banks, for instance, and any other organization in different financial industries are able to focus on their area of expertise rather than thinking about, oh, my data center power will soon go down or whatnot. You have outsourced that headache to the experts in data center operations. Also, deployment of new technologies and services. For instance, SD-WAN is only made possible because services that you want to consume are in a single location. And so the SD-WAN providers are able to just put a device in a co-location facility and provide software-defined network, intelligent network to their users. Flexibility as well. So it frees up all other issues, and then we are able to move to one carrier without issues. We are able to say, okay, I'm having challenges with this carrier. I'm moving to this carrier, this other carrier, easily without the need to say, oh, okay, I'm calling carrier B. Can you build a backhaul to my facility because I'm having issues? Everything is there for you already, so you are able to move from one carrier to another without issues. And this is what a co-location facility does and brings to the industry, to the operators. They are able to operate better. They are able to focus on their business better and deliver service to the end user. Thank you very much.